I'm going. Fire line!
Recovery is a ticklish business. If Alvin crashes against Lulu, the $5 million sub could be knocked out.
Line up! Midship's on deck! Fire line up! Ralph! Midship! Midship's up! Hold your line!
The cradle rises and the submersible grounds.
Hey, boy! Hey, boy! Watch your head. Dynamite, yeah. That's some really fine stuff.
We just collected everything we could. We got a scraper sample, I think. Right down in the poking off for.
Someone want to take these before they get any ideas?
Someone like this to poisonous sea steak?
Yeah. Ah! I hope I get you. I score one for the crabs. Oh, that water is green. This is, right on.
Yes, they get that into the instant ocean pretty quickly. Can you grab this edge now?
The first tube worm.
Well, I'm just going to put these in the instant ocean. And we'll...
Okay, if you can open it outward, well, that's a good place to put them. Okay. If we can break it free here. Okay. How about that?
Bob Hessler of Scripps Institution of Oceanography.
I used to work on pogonopherans in the deep sea, and the animals that I would work on were about this long and so narrow you couldn't even see the width unless you were dealing with a microscope. And to be working with these things where you could use a knife and fork and spoon for dissection is just absolutely remarkable. One doesn't do this very often.
For the expedition biologists, the work has only begun. And the work of the Alvin crew never ends. Each night they must work all night if necessary to prepare for the next day's dive.
Good.
20 times the sub descends to the ocean floor, and the studies expand.
Open it up. There's quite a bit of material in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Howard.
From a study of muscle tissue, the biologist can learn whether each vent is a separate island of life, or if life in all the vents is closely related.
I found it in the frame. It's got in the back in one of the small holes.
A Galatheid crab, an unexpected bonus for Ruth Turner.
Of course, he couldn't stand the lack of pressure or the warm water, because he's living down there in 2 or 3 degree water. You bring him up here in this warm water and he can't take it, or she can't take it. This is a she.
Well, it's yours. Yeah.
And it allows us to tell us about the rate of reproduction of these by being able to count all these eggs. So we're very delighted to be able to get things in reproductive state. And a lot of them aren't that evident. You have to go inside the animal to figure out what its reproductive state is. Here, they just put it on the outside.
I don't know of any other clam that has this red blood pigment in it.
Carl Berg of Harvard.
All the ones, normal ones, have a clear fluid as for their blood, but these have this red stuff which we think is hemoglobin as blood in humans. It's like a piece of beef. It really does, like a piece of liver.
That's amazing.
little tiny thing on the... Oh,
Jim Childress from UC Santa Barbara studies the physiology of mussels and crabs that he keeps alive in refrigerated high-pressure chambers.
And what's the little white thing? I mean, the white thing at the bottom, is that...
Piece of styrofoam out.
Oh, terrific.
I'm more interested in the surface of it.
Microbiologist Holger Janisch of Woods Hole collects a sample from a mussel's outer layer to check for bacteria. David Carl at the University of Hawaii collects water samples from the vents. He too checks for bacteria. They suspect that bacteria could be the basic food for creatures on the bottom. Carl Worson of Woods Hole checks the water samples. He and others are testing an extraordinary hypothesis. Every known ecological system in the world depends on photosynthesis. Can these bacteria in the vents be producing food without sunlight by chemosynthesis? All animal life is ultimately based on plant food, which can be thought of as edible energy. In photosynthesis, that energy comes from the sun. Drawing molecules of water, H2O, from the earth, and carbon dioxide, CO2, from the air, plants are able to recombine the hydrogen with carbon and oxygen to make food, organic matter, with oxygen as a byproduct. In chemosynthesis, energy comes from intense heat deep within the earth. This energy is carried upward through fissures in chemical form as hydrogen sulfide. Near the vent opening where there is free oxygen and carbon dioxide, bacteria oxidize the hydrogen sulfide and use that energy to combine the hydrogen with carbon and oxygen to make food, organic matter. To confirm the hypothesis, Worson must test whether the bacteria from the vents can grow with sulfur compounds as food.
I think these are the dandelions. These things are completely new and exciting to all of us.
Most of the specimens reach the surface intact, but not the dandelion.
Tell me that they don't know what it is either. It might be a part of the dandelions too, but it might be a separate animal also.
How they're sort of tending its lines.
What do you think, Howard?
With only bits and pieces of the dandelion specimens available for study, the scientists turn to the videotape to observe its behavior.
All of the tentacular portion is the portion that forms that fuzzy little ball at the end of the air pocket.
That's what survives.
That's right. But all these little pieces are broken off. They're the things that are loose in the jar. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And when it moves, that bit that's towards you, Howard, pulsates.
And now you can see those filaments out from the side, reaching out and curling and then coming back in.
That's right.
What is it?
We don't know.
Siphonophore, huh?
It doesn't look like a plant.
That's right.
Our dandelion.
You geologists were wrong again.
On Lulu, the biological study continues, while on Gillis, geologist Ballard pursues theories that might lead him to the discovery of new vents.
Well, this is where the vent is now, Clambake 1. And I'm just trying to figure out if there's a rhythm to the topography. You look at it, and you see that it looks like there is. And I use that to search for more vents.
If we could cut across the Galápagos Rift and peer inside, we would see that the Earth's rigid crust of continents and ocean floor is very thin. Beneath is a molten interior. The vent area is one point where that molten interior breaks through the crust. It is part of the largest geologic feature in the face of the Earth, the mid-oceanic ridge. 40,000 miles the mid-oceanic ridge stretches. But of it, man has thus far seen only 40 miles. In the crater of a volcano, we can see in miniature the formation of the mid-oceanic ridge. Motions within the Earth force apart its crustal skin. Molten magma periodically erupts into the resulting rift. When lava pours out near the sea surface, tremendous volcanic explosions sometimes occur. In time, submarine seamounts or islands are formed. When lava flows underwater, it behaves differently, at times pouring forth like giant globs of toothpaste, called pillow lava. On Lulu, the biology dives are over. Now Ballard, with cameraman Al Giddings, gets his chance to search out new vents.
See how many vents we can find. I think we're going to find a lot.
But the elusive dandelion is still something the whole ship's company wants to collect.
Okay. Go cave diving.
Okay.
All right.
Donley Dandy Snagger.
Yeah, well.
A new contraption to capture a dandelion in one piece has been put together by the crew. The preparation for a dive is always a tense time. But once the sub starts down, the crew, Ballard, Giddings, and pilot Ralph Hollis, can allow themselves a few moments to relax.
That sounds all right so far. I can live with that.
All right.
Is that a new Won't fit in the bill. Yeah. Is it clear to stand up? Are you trying to make up for the front?
Hey! Come on, Hollis, let's drive this thing.
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go?
Lulu, this is Alvin, passing 250 meters, over.
With the sub on the way to the bottom, some of the crew pursue their own prerogatives.
On the bottom.
We're at the edge of a drain-back crater. We actually went inside the crater. Try to drive forward, Ralph. And let me film the edge of this.
When the sub is maneuvering in such tight quarters, the pilot must always be aware of dangerous overhangs. Should Alvin become trapped, there is no one to help.
I'm trying to keep
Okay,
from getting
camera
caught
off.
in here.
If you could pivot right.
Right or left?
Right. Pivot right.
No, I can't. It's not that wide, Bob.
Oh, I see your problem. Well, let's not get stuck in this thing. We're now rising out. Okay, let's just get underway.
And we'll try to follow the fissure out and drive along the trend, see if we can find some new fissures, new bends. You see that white stuff along the edge of the rocks? That's spaghetti. When you see that, you know you're getting close to a vent.
Quarters in Alvin are so cramped and her lights reach such a little distance into the gloom, suddenly ghost-like forms appear, take shape around the sub. A bouquet of tube worms is revealed. Alvin has come upon a huge and extraordinary vent, and the largest tube worms anyone has ever seen.
My God, look at that. Isn't that fantastic? It must be at least 8-10 feet tall. And look at how many there are. Look at all that material in the water. It's just like a soup. This is just the biggest vent I've ever seen. Look at how extensive that life is. In 1977, we never saw anything like this. I mean, we saw tube worms. There was a few of them. They were a few feet tall, but look at this concentration.
Pictures taken through the sub portholes can capture the overall view of the vents, but only the video camera can record the extraordinary close-up detail of the creatures.
There must be a lot of food here for these animals to grow this much. Look at how many there are. You don't see this much life in shallow water. Al, I wish we had a biologist here to see all of this. I hope this one gets to the surface in one piece.
Just getting a dandelion inside a container is hard enough. But what will happen on the way to the surface? Will the delicate creature blow apart as temperature and pressure change?
Lulu, this is Alvin.
This is Lulu, Roger.
We had a very good session in the vent. We've named it the Rose Garden.
Truly looks like a series of beautiful rose hedges.
God, we found vents all over the place.
I'd say, okay, you're coming up to the high part now, and I'd be looking through the viewfinder, and we'd be looking at animals, and the stack could just get higher and higher and higher until
Where does
just
it
a
end?
big white wall of animal casters.
All right, you ready? Put your hand on the bottom.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, don't let it drain out!
Fantastic!
Just let him go into there, and then I'll scoop him
Oh,
up.
he's falling apart. Get that one.
Let him out in the water.
He'll fall. He'll fall.
So put the jar. We'll get him in the glass
You ready?
jar.
You ready? Got him? Beautiful. Look at, oh, keep all those things. Fantastic. Look, it's a colony. You know, it really looks different. It's a colony. Let's put them all in there. They're not one cell, there's a bunch of them. Is there a center nucleus to it, or? There's a colony with some sort of...
And we can sieve all the rest of the pieces out. But I want to
I wanted to get them out as delicate as they can be. I figure if you sieve them, they'll all...
Well, the pieces don't matter as
Why
much.
don't you decanter off some of the water? That is fantastic. They're colonies. fragile. And all those little white things came off, you know?
Let me cap it up here.
Yeah, Brody here made it, designed it, second generation modification.
Yeah, but it took skill to use it. It took skill to use it.
We sent the skill, we sent the technology, it all went together and made a great thing. That's good.
Sure never seen one of those before, right?
Never seen anything like that before. No,
You're the
not at
first
all.
biologist that ever did, I think. Huh?
That's probably right. First one to see it all complete, total, like that. Really a pretty color, nice peach color. I hate to kill something that's as pretty as that. Dudley was Dudley was out of his mind and finally picked it up.
You preserving it now?
Well, I'm afraid it'll disintegrate as soon as it gets warm, and/or because of the pressure. Like, look at here, this guy's starting to ooze out some of the color. Just say.
Yeah, it is.
It's probably that cell is erupted.
Do you see any of those filaments that it used? Now, there's another one erupting. Oh, there's another one.
Let's get it warm.
Get him in the cold, quick.
It looks like he's having a problem.
Within an hour, the fragile dandelion disintegrates. Apparently, mankind will gaze on this fragile creature only in pictures, or 8,000 feet down. The expedition to the Galápagos Rift lasted 45 days. But at places like Woods Hole, work on the specimens collected on the dives will continue for years. Grassley and others have already discovered that the red-topped worms have no close relative in the world of animals. Possibly they are in a new phylum, the most basic division of zoology. The dandelion related to the Portuguese man of war consists of hundreds of parts with specialized functions. The mussels are a new species. The crabs are a new family. But the most basic discovery of all was confirmed by microbiologist Holger Janisch.
There are two major findings that makes us reasonably certain that bacteria are indeed the primary producers of organic matter on these deep sea vents. And the first point is that a tremendous amount of bacteria are contained in the water that exudes from the vents. Tremendous amount of microorganisms as we have never seen before in seawater. And these organisms incorporate CO2 into organic matter. And this is done with a chemical oxidation rather than with light.
So this is not simply a discovery of new creatures, but rather of a whole new ecological system. A system based on chemosynthesis, not photosynthesis.
In the lifetime of a scientist, occasions like this are very rare. And for this particular discovery, one would say once in a lifetime, something occurs like that.
I think what we've done in these programs is to show how much more there is to do, and that really the potential for discoveries are just numerous. And I think that'd be tragic if my children thought that all the discoveries had been made and that they were just a mop-up operation. And I will always argue that there's countless discoveries to be made in every frontier that you can pursue, and certainly in the marine frontier. I mean, that's an easy one, actually. That's guaranteed a new frontier.
2 months after the Galápagos Rift expedition, and 2,000 miles to the north, the Angus Alvin team makes a major new discovery. They find more vents and a similar profusion of life. Many of the same creatures abound. They find yet another kind of worm. The worms are probably a new family. Turbid water pours out of chimney-shaped vents. Water so hot, at 750 degrees, it partially melts Alvin's heat probe. Mineral deposits accumulate at the base of the chimneys. Copper, zinc, iron, sulfur. This is the first time geologists have ever seen how mineral deposits are actually formed. Scientists using Alvin have continued to explore the mid-oceanic ridge. The significance of their studies has not yet been measured. But we do know already that seawater circulates through the rifts and out again about every 10 million years, changing the chemistry of the sea. And the discovery of a new ecological system is the most important biological finding about the deep sea in 100 years. These finds have dramatically altered our concept of the deep sea floor, the animals there, and the water above it. Our view of the ocean can never be the same again.